What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech video. We're going to take a little break from competitive EDH. I wanted to show you a fun, interesting deck focused around switching life totals, getting your own life total down pretty low, and then handing that over to another player. Now this deck is by Moose, and it's called Happy Death Day. So it's all about life gain, controlling life totals pretty easily. We have a commander that's going to make it pretty easy for us to get down to a low life total so that we can easily swap it using some other really cool spells in here. This is on Moxfield, so why don't you give me a follow over there? And also the link to this specific deck will be in the description below. So here we have Gallowbraid, which is a legendary Phyrexian horror. It is a 5 mana, 5/5 trample with a cumulative upkeep cost of 1 life. Now there's always going to be the option of playing something like Keurig, Son of Yawgmoth, but when looking over other decks I try to see, well, maybe there's a reason for why they chose Gallowbraid over something like Keurig, Son of Yawgmoth, and it's because the cumulative upkeep is capable of draining your own life total quicker, and it's not like someone's gonna rush to get rid of it. It's just a 5/5 for 5, so the first upkeep you lose a life, second upkeep of yours you lose 2, and then you lose 3, and then 4. The longer that it's out there, the quicker you're going to be drained, in addition to how much you're going to be drained for everything else. And also, this is just not a commander option you ever see, so there's always an incentive to want to play with something just because it's brand new and you don't know. There might be an actual reason why the cumulative upkeep is better. For our Planeswalkers here, we have Sorin Markov. This is a really well-known one. The +2 makes it so that you deal 2 damage to target creature or player and you gain 2 life, which isn't all that great, but the -3 target opponent's life total becomes 10. That makes it very easy to kill them off, especially if you're going up against other life gain decks. And the -7, you control target player during that player's next turn. The only reason why the +2 is worth anything is because it gets you to the ult. And our creatures, it's going to be a lot of life gain synergies, a lot of life loss synergies as well. Bloodthirsty Aerialist, whenever we gain life, we put a +1/+1 counter on her. Clackbridge Troll, enters and target opponent creates 3/0/1 white goat creature tokens, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If a player does, they tap Clackbridge Troll, and you gain 3 life and draw a card. We have Cryptghast to double our black mana. Whenever we tap a swamp for mana, we get an additional black. We have Diamond Mare, we choose a color, and whenever we cast a spell of the chosen color, we gain a life. And then we have Dusk Legion Zealot. When it enters, we draw a card and we lose a life. We have Ebonblade Reaper. Whenever it attacks, we lose half our life rounded up. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half of their life rounded up too. We have Epicure of Blood. Whenever we gain life, each opponent loses life. We have Garza's Assassin. We sacrifice it to destroy target non-black creature. And it has Recover. We pay half our life rounded up. And whenever another creature is put into our graveyard from play, we may pay half our life rounded up. If we do, return this card from the graveyard to our hand. Otherwise, remove this card from the game. So a lot of quick ways of just paying half our life, getting our own life total down there pretty low. And then we have Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Everybody knows what this guy does. Each opponent loses life equal to your devotion to black, and then you gain that much life. Can really save a game. With Keurig, Son of Yawgmoth, could also be a good commander option for this specific deck. But I think what we just want to do here is swap life totals, so I don't really see a problem. Leaden Mirror, taps for 1 black mana, Magus of the Coffers. Cabal Coffers on a creature, pay 2, tap it, add a black to your pool for each swamp you control. And here we have the first one, the first life total swap card. Magus of the Mirror, 6 mana human wizard, tap it, sacrifice Magus of the Mirror, exchange life totals with target opponent, activate this ability only during your upkeep. So it is a little bit slower compared to some of the other ways that we can swap life totals, but that's still a threat. It's easily going to make it so that we can just kill off an opponent if our life total is pretty low. We have Marshland Bloodcaster. This is a newer card here, 5 mana flyer. We can pay 2 mana and tap her. Rather than pay the mana cost of the next spell you cast this turn, you may pay life equal to that spell's mana value. So that right there, as far as black goes, that's kind of black's way of cheating things into play. Rather than pay mana, just pay life. And then we have Phyrexian Rager. Enters, we draw a card and lose a life. Platinum Angel. We can't lose the game and our opponents can't win the game. So if we get our life total down to 0, we don't lose the game. That's pretty crazy. And then we have Cezanne, Perverter of Truth. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. We have Tree of Perdition. Exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. Doesn't really synergize with what we're trying to do, but it does get an opponent's life total down pretty low. We do have Villas, Broker of Blood. Whenever we lose a life, we draw that many cards. You can pay a black, and to life, target creature gets -1/-1. And then we have Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose. Whenever we gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and we can pay 5 mana. Creatures we control gain lifelink until end of turn, so that's also nice. We have Wall of Blood. We can pay 1 life, Wall of Blood gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is a really cool card because we can just keep paying life. It's not going to stop us. If we want to kill ourselves, we can kill ourselves. You can get yourself down to a point where you would normally lose with a Platinum Angel, and then exchange your life total with an opponent, and they die. So, sorceries, we have Ambition's Cost, a lot of what we're going to see here in black. Good card draw, good removal, good reanimation, with an additional cost or some downside of having to pay life, because it's also beneficial for our strategy to lose life. So Ambition's Cost, we draw 3 cards and we lose 3 life. Ashes to Ashes, we exile 2 non-artifact creatures and then we take 5 damage. We have Bond of Agony. As an additional cost to play it, you pay X life. Each other player loses X life. So it's pretty much a symmetrical life loss card there. We're the ones who really benefit from that more than anyone else. We have Bubbling Muck. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional black. So it's High Tide and black. And then we have Command the Dreadhorde. Choose any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers in graveyards. Command the Dreadhorde deals damage to you equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards. Put them onto the battlefield under your control. So really good reanimation, especially if we don't mind losing a lot of life. And then we have Damnable Pact. Target player draws X cards and loses X life. We have Exsanguinate. Each opponent loses X life, and we gain life equal to the life lost this way. And then we have Feed the Swarm. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, and you lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost. We have Infernal Contract. You draw 4 cards and you lose half your life rounded up. So back in the day, this obviously wasn't a big deal. If you lose half your life when you start out with 20, for 3 mana, if it gets you 4 cards, that's actually worth it. But in Commander, that is a ton of life, and only really useful in a deck like this where we want to get down pretty low. And then we have Pain's Reward. You bid any amount of life. In turn order, each player may top the high bid. The bidding ends if the high bid stands. The high bidder loses life equal to the high bid and draws 4 cards. And then we have Profane Transfusion. This is a new card from Commander Legends, and it is another card that we can use to switch life totals, but it is a whopping 9 mana sorcery. 2 target players exchange life totals. You create an XX colorless horror artifact creature token, where X is the difference between those players' life totals. So, easiest way to use this, just swap your life total with an opponent's who has a higher life total. And then we have Repay in Kind. For 7 mana, each player's life total becomes the lowest life total among all players. We have Torment of Hailfire. This is a win con that, doesn't really matter if we have our life total switched or whatever. Repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacks a non-land permanent or discards a card. If we dump a ton into X, they're probably going to lose. For removal, we have Toxic Deluge because it's another great way of just taking advantage of cost for benefit. We pay that additional cost of X life and then just wipe the board. We have Worst Fears. You control target player during that player's next turn and exile it. All for 8 mana, that's pretty powerful. And then we have our instants here, Crypt Incursion, 3 mana instant. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. This card is so underrated. I mean, outside of this strategy, of course, you could throw it into other mono black decks and really gain life back. We have Devour and Shadow. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. You lose life equal to that creature's toughness. We have Dismember. Has some Phyrexian mana in that cost, so we can lose 4 life. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Grim Return. Choose target creature card in a graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. We have Imp's Mischief. Change the target spell with a single target, and you lose life equal to that spell's converted mana cost. We have Malakir Rebirth. Great way to protect a creature that we have. If a board wipe happens, we can get it back to our hand, and we lose 2 life for that. We have Reckless Spite. Destroy 2 target non-black creatures, and we lose 5 life. And we have Slaughter. Has a buyback cost of 4 life, so this one's pretty cool. Destroy target non-black creature. That creature cannot be regenerated this turn. And then we have Snuff Out. If we control a swamp, we may pay 4 life instead of paying its cost. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated, so it's pretty much a free kill spell. And then we have Stinging Study. This is a new card from Commander 2021. We draw X cards and we lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander we own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So really good cost for benefit there. We have Stunning Reversal. The next time we would lose the game this turn, instead draw 7 cards and our life total becomes 1. So this is a really fun card. We haven't really had too many decks that really take advantage of it outside of this kind of suicide strategy. And then we have Withering Boon for 2 mana, pay 3 life, counter target summon spell. So black does have counter spells, just counter spells for creatures. And then we have our artifacts here. We have Bolas's Citadel, great way to cheat into play spells. We also just pay life, get our life total down there pretty low. And then we have Bantu's Monument. Whenever we cast a creature spell, each opponent loses a life and we gain a life. Eternity Vessel. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under our control, we may have our life total become the number of charge counters on Eternity Vessel. And then we have Pristine Talisman. We tap it for 1 colorless mana and we gain a life. We have Soul Ring and we have Soul Conduit. We pay 6 mana and tap it. 2 target players exchange life totals. And then we have Staff of the Death Magus. Whenever we cast a black spell or a swamp enters the battlefield under our control, we gain a life. So consistent life gain there. We have Book of Vile Darkness. This is a brand new card from the Dungeons & Dragons crossover set. 3 black mana, legendary artifact at the beginning of our end step. If we lost 2 or more life this turn, we create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So it's really just in here to benefit us for draining our own life total by giving us zombies. And then we have Well of Lost Dreams. Whenever we gain life, we may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life we gained, and we draw X cards. We have our enchantments. We have Argyle's Bloodfast. Pay 2 mana and 2 life to draw a card at the beginning of our upkeep. If we have 5 or less life, we may transform Argyle's Bloodfast. And we do that, we get Temple of Aklazats. It taps for 1 black mana, and it taps to sacrifice a creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. And then we have Black Market. Whenever a creature dies, we put a charge counter on it, and at the beginning of our pre-combat main phase, we add a black to our pool for each charge counter on it. We have Greed. We can pay a black and 2 life to draw a card. We have Murderous Betrayal. We pay 2 mana, pay half our life rounded up, destroy target non-black creature, it can't be regenerated. And we have Pestilence. You pay a black mana, it deals 1 damage to all creatures and players, and at the end of turn, if there are no more creatures in play, you sacrifice it. We have Soul Channeling. You pay 2, regenerate enchanted creature. And then we have Triskaidekaphobia. At the beginning of your upkeep, you choose 1. Each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, then each player gains 1 life, or each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, and then each player loses 1 life. And the lands seem to be pretty much what you would expect from a mono black deck. Here we get Barren Moor for draw, Bajuka Bog to deal with graveyards, Cabal Coffers to get more mana, Cabal Stronghold to get more mana, City of Brass to ping ourselves, get ourselves down in life total, Mortuary Mire to get a creature back, Myriad Landscape to get some more lands, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx to get even more mana for our devotion, Piranha Marsh enters the battlefield, target player loses a life, Reliquary Tower so we don't have to discard, Temple of the False God for more mana, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth for the Cabal Coffers synergy, and Witch's Cottage so we get another creature back. So anyway, that's going to do it for this deck tech. Again, this is by Moose Moose. Really cool deck here. Happy Death Day is what it is called. It'll be in the description below. You can go check out that link. I think this is going to be a pretty fun commander deck. Of course, you could swap out the commander for Kyrix, Son of Yawgmoth. If that's what you prefer, it would make it, I think, a little bit more beneficial for the deck. It would make your costs cheaper, while also satisfying the condition of how we want to win here. But I still think Gallowbraid is a cool option. Cumulative upkeep isn't really something you see, so having it on a commander where you just keep losing life, I think it's at least interesting. So if you have not already, subscribe, like, comment, share. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Void here signing off. See you all next time.